Hey, my bows and bow ties. It's the Black Opinionated Woman, also known as a bow. Okay, let's get right on into it because it's been a long day for me. What are we doing? We are recapping, and just like that, the last episode of the season, episode 10. For those of you who are new to my channel, I talk about three things. I just have to go through it. Black woman, Black culture, and anything related to middle age. So this show, as far as I'm concerned, falls under middle age because I'm a Gen Xer. This was one of those cult following shows from back in the day that I followed. So I discuss things like shows, getting older, parenting, that type of thing. Now, before I get into it, I just want to say for the record, I'm in my feelings a little bit because I just came in from two clinics for my daughter. And yeah, so I was out in the rain. It was like 40 days and 40 nights. Well, maybe not that much. So now I look like the cowardly lion from the Wizard of Oz. Lil Nas. Oh, hey, hello. Yeah, that's what's going on with me. A little in my feelings because I know I look like Teen Too Much right now, but we're gonna get into it. All right, let's take off this banner real quick. All right, so if you come on, if you selected the video, this is the one that you're looking at. Chin checking Carrie, Carrie, the whole thing. So yeah, I said it. I said it. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove this. We're going to go ahead and look at this. Let's follow this for a second. These are my takeaways. I am one of the few people who's going to give this episode an 8 out of 10. Now, a lot of people love to hate this. I mean, because I love to hate the series too. But, I have to say that for the most part, it gets an 8 out of 10 primarily because of Carrie. I mean, I think Carrie was Carrie, right? And I think she carried the entire video episode, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, she carried this episode, and she chin checked Miranda because she needed it. Miranda is Satan. Okay, she's full on Satan, and that's why they had her in red at the end of the episode. They introduced Lampgate. Now, this lamp that Carrie has had more scenes. It was like a personification of big. It's when you give inanimate or life things that are lacking life, like human-like traits. So they personify the lamp. This was Lampgate. Charlotte has the most awful kids in the world. They're awful, awful kids. Let me just say this. Let me bring myself up for a second. Just me. I am super surprised that they did not have Charlotte checking Ding Dong Miranda at the end of this thing. Now, she has been checking Miranda all season. And now the one time she gets to check her, now granted, I know she was like really self-absorbed with the day mitzvah, but I was like, this is your chance. Hey there. All right. So she had a chance to check Miranda and she didn't chin check that chick. This was like alliteration. I am so good. I picked that up on the spot. All right. So she didn't even chin check her. That chick just doing too much, doing too much. Okay. And in the end, let me take myself out of this for a second. We need more Anthony and Jackie. All right. So let's get right on into it. So this is the podcast. So apparently I am a Jackie stan now. I stand for Jackie. For those of you who don't know who Jackie is, it is the Asian man in the center of the screen. Okay. He is funny to me. I don't know why, but I am a stan for Jackie. Okay. Now, this is the thing. Hold on, let me bring myself back up for a second. This was also one of the tackiest scenes because they had this ignorant discussion on who had the worst breakup. And once again, self-centered Carrie had to make it about her. Like, I lost my husband. That wasn't a breakup. This was like, I don't know. We know he's dead. Dear everyone in the free world, Big is dead. He all the way died. And if you didn't know, now you know. 10 episodes in, Big is all the way dead. He is dead. Dead. He is gone. He died. Episode 1. He's not coming back. He is all the way dead. And I think we have exhausted that Big is dead. Okay. But anyway, so after competing for the worst breakup, I guess she had to go out for a walk or whatever it was with Jackie. But anyway, I like Jackie. We need more of Jackie. He needs to be in season 2 if they get a season 2. I'm going to presume they're going to get a season two because they got to make this whole situation right. Okay. Now we're going to move on past this. Let's go on to the next slide. All right. So Carrie and we already know she likes to cry Carrie. She can't cry wolf. She likes to cry Carrie. She likes to cry date that's never a date that is a date. So they actually go on the date that wasn't a date but was really a date this time. And I guess he wanted to kiss her. And it was like, I don't know, like foot and mouth disease or something because they look so awkward and I couldn't get a better picture. Let me make this larger so you guys can see. So they go on a date for the third time. This one is like a real one, like on purpose. And so she goes to kiss him, or he goes to kiss her, and she looks like she's kissing her brother or something. I don't know what is going on, but at least this time they took that severe bun out of her head and they went through a whole conversation about how they looked each other up on Google and a whole bunch of lies. And they were, okay, anyway, they're checking out each other's stats and the end. So, all right, you guys know what I'm going to do. Let's get on to my girl. There goes Seema. Now, look, I have to apologize for these really dark pictures because at the time when I was creating this, I couldn't find any lighter photos. So we're going to have to, I had to snap them from the promo video. But there goes my girl, Seema. I should have brought up another picture. Seema, the one who do no wrong and is perfect in every way. Okay. She's perfect in every way. So we're going to not really like say anything bad about her. Anyway, so Seema and her boy toy apparently Carrie calls her and she talks. She's like, "So how was the date?" Now, as you guys can see, apparently she was just done. She just got it in. Okay. So Seema's feeling good about herself. Old boy's feeling good about himself. I think I have 2 slides on this. So let me go ahead and move to the next one. Let me see if you guys can see this. I am so sorry for the dark pictures. So Carrie's calling her from the bed, if you can see from the picture on the left. And I really apologize for these pictures, but Seema just can't seem to stop getting it in. I guess she's just, but this is what I want to understand. Perfect in every way, Seema always has a cigarette. Well, I mean, I don't get that. So you're on the phone, you're getting ready to get it in for the millionth time, but you still have to have a cigarette. But this guy, let me tell you something about old boy. Let me tell you about this one. This one, I don't see that lasting for very long because he was so needy and so rude. And every time she said something, he had to interrupt. I'm like, he was doing too much. He was doing all the way too much. She's going to get rid of him or he's going to get rid of her because it sounds like he is like he's way too self-absorbed. He might be a narcissist. I don't know. I don't think he's a good guy. I don't see this lasting. Next, let's move on. Okay, I'm trying to get through this quicker. Seema the boy toy. Can you guys even see these pictures? Oh, before I get into that, this is the precursor to Lampgate. It was a very dark part of the movie. I mean, the show, right? This is really not a good set of pictures, but her light kept cutting on. So as you can see, maybe in these pictures, she's like trying to rest. The light keeps cutting on, and she's thinking it's big. So this is the precursor to Lampgate. All right, the lamp has life. Next, the ladies' lunch. Now, for those of you who didn't see my last video, I put this little beanie cap on Miranda because, well, beanie caps are stupid and Miranda has turned stupid. I just can't take it. And then because Miranda has suddenly turned into a lesbian, and those are the rainbow colors for the LGBTQ community. So I figured that she was a lesbian and stupid at the same time. And so she gets the beanie cap. So there we go. So anyway, Carrie makes references to the reading lamp, which now I am calling Lampgate because the lamp has life. So she's referencing Lampgate and about maybe Big is mad that she went out on a date. Okay, so she thinks that Big is mad at her for going out on a date. And Miranda, Satan herself, beanie cap wearing dumb Miranda. Let's look at this chick again. She is like totally leaning in on Carrie because Carrie is referencing maybe Big is in heaven and some other things. And so now she's trying to guilt Carrie. And she's going in and now she is centering herself. And I'm like, wait a second. Chick is trying to recover from her husband dying of a heart attack. And you're leaning in on her because she now believes that there may be a God or something like that. See, they got the right one because my little slick mouth self, I would have all the way checked this check all the way. You love her hat? I love her hat too. She is well deserving of this dingaling hat. She deserves that hat because she is a ding dong. She's all the way stupid. And Satan. I should have put horns on her and I almost did. But she gets to keep the beanie cap. She's keeping that cap. All right. So hateful, satanic Miranda is going off on Carrie because Carrie wants to find a way to comfort herself. And I'm just sitting here thinking, like, what kind of dingaling friend is this woman has had a lobotomy. I'm telling you, she got the right one because this one and this slick mouth, nope, nope, nope. So, and then I think also Charlotte was referencing like the they mitzvah because it can't be a bat mitzvah, bar mitzvah. Somebody correct me on how to say that. I thought it was bat mitzvah. Then I've heard bar mitzvah, and it could be a mispronunciation. I don't know, but nevertheless, we can't say that now. It's a they mitzvah. All right. So she's talking about that and the fact that she has a trans rabbi. And I'm like, this is too much. We've got trans rabbi. And I know people are going to want to get mad at me, but look, I'm calling a thing a thing. I mean, you can't give me too much all in one thing. We got trans rabbis. We got Dingaling Miranda, who's had a lobotomy. She's a sudden lesbian. We got Shay, that's not in a relationship with Miranda. I can't. I don't know what to call it. You can't say she because I'm going to offend somebody. But I don't know. I don't know what's going on. Steve has no balls. Charlotte needs black friends. Everyone is woke or conscious. You know, that's the new term. Charlotte in a previous episode was talking about throwing shade. Miranda was all the way gray, even though I think she's a beautiful woman, but she went gray. Uh, what's her name? Charlotte's face doesn't move. She does that weird thing with the whole like seizure thing that's going on. I don't know what's going on, but anyway, they had their lunch, and Miranda was Satan. She was all the way Satan, and I'm telling you right now, the chick was Satan. I'm just saying. And let me tell you, I might have to give out a couple of hallelujahs in the process because she's not coming for me. I'm telling you right now. I'm saved by the blood of the Lamb. All right, next. Here's more with the dark photos. Oh, actually, I think I'm jumping ahead. So let me go back first. So there's a couple of things that happen. Carrie, I don't have a slide for this. Let me just bring myself up because I'm lovely with my cowardly lying hair. Carrie does have a moment where she's texting Samantha, the one who has been abandoned by us. Now I understand why she didn't come back to the series, but I miss her. I all the way miss Samantha. So she texts Samantha, Samantha. I don't know. I just don't like that interaction. They make Samantha sound cold, and Samantha was never cold. She's not a cold character. I don't know why they murdered her like this. Who? Oh, I wish I could. The writer's room podcast needs to have a call-in session, and you know my little shady self is going to call and I'm going to call in, and I definitely have words for that Samantha Irby, the black lady who's now identifying with Shay. So I can't say she, I can't call her lady, I don't know what to call her, but let me tell you something. If she is the representation for black people, I have words for her. You got the chick eating french fries off of people's plates and carrying on, but I digress. Yeah, okay. So anyway, they made Samantha cold. The memory of Samantha, and she's not cold. No. All right. So now Lampgate is ramping up because Carrie takes the lamp that keeps turning on to go get looked at. Okay. So she's thinking like there's got to be something wrong, or maybe Big is trying to communicate with her through this lamp because it keeps cutting on. And I think there was like some hope that um, Big, maybe Big was, I don't know. I think she was just reaching, she was grasping. And anybody who is recovering from a death, like from a loss, not that you can physically recover from death, but when you have lost someone, you don't know how people, you don't know what their coping mechanisms is. You just don't know. People talk to objects, maybe they think they've seen the person. You don't know. You just don't know. So I kind of got that scene, and I know people are going to want to make fun of that scene, but I kind of feel like that's actually kind of like a real life thing. Because if my husband spontaneously blows up, he better not. Let me tell you something. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. He can't die ever. We're dying at the same time. We're definitely dying at the same time. Even though he's snoring outside on the couch right now, and I'm in this office, he can't die. I don't know what's going to happen. So anyway, she's trying to take this lamp, which is the precursor to Lampgate, because the lamp is really really driving the storyline. I think like it's all about the lamp. The lamp is being dropped off. The guy looks at her with a side eye. I mean, like all the way side eye, like, okay, lady, but I get it. Moving on. Anthony, I guess he's trying to help Charlotte and Harry prepare for the day mitzvah. So this was so tacky. Now, if he was a black guy, I would have been like, this was like ghetto. He was like, we're gonna make sourdough challah, and they're like, can you just make some regular challah? Can you just keep it like regular old regular, because we got enough like non-regular things happening. We got a trans rabbi. Rose is now rock. It's just a lot going on. She doesn't know the words. We've had a couple of them like cancel on us. And what was so funny was when they said the rabbi was trans. Let me tell you how I I heard it, but it did not sink in until it was like, hi. I was like, oh my gosh, what kind of woman talks like that? I'm like, oh yeah, it's really a man, but not really, because it's trans. So I guess it's a woman. I'm still trying to get it together. So the trans rabbi that sounds like a man was like, what is going on? Oh my gosh, this is a lot. So I know there's going to be some people who are going to be mad at me. I get it. I get it. But hey, I got to call a thing a thing. this this person sounded like a man to me. So don't be mad. The rabbi sounded like a man, even though it looked like a woman. All right. So Anthony's trying to come out with some, I don't know why he was trying to make the challah hood. It's like, just make their challah like regular challah. But look, the rabbi did say that Rose Now Rock is a disaster. She doesn't know. They don't. I'm trying to get the pronouns right. Rock doesn't know the material. But what I do like is that the rabbi basically calls out the brattiness of this child. The end. All right. So I'm sorry with these jacked up things, because I was trying to get some really good pictures. Let's go on to this next thing. All right. Now let's lean on in on this. So look, do you need to see me here? I guess I can take down that thing. All right, let's bring me in for a second. Can you see me? I'm going to put myself in the corner here. So look, Selfish Shay and Psycho Miranda have a club scene. So I wish I could have made this look. I should have lightened this photo, but I wanted to snap it the way it was. Now wait a second. Why does Satan show up to the club looking like grandma with the gray hair to meet Shay and Shay's family? I was like, oh my gosh, someone get Satan a doily. So Satan shows up to the club, meeting a doily, wearing that old lady dress. I was like, what is going on? I'm thinking like, look, I haven't been to the club in a while, but let me tell you, if I'm going to the club, I'm trying to kill them. I'm just saying. Oh yeah, everything's gonna be snatched, eyelashes, everything's gonna be on. Hair won't look like the Caroline line from the Wizard of Oz. What's not going to happen is I'm not walking in my Sunday's best with a doily, even though I know I'm Satan. Like, what is that? That's why she deserves that hat. She is wearing that hat. So she meets Shay at the club to meet the family, right? And so Shay is like, I'm happy to see you, or whatever it was she says. And look, like, let me go on to the next slide. She's introducing her to her abuelo, that's like grandmother in Spanish. And so she's meeting all these people. And she fits right in with the grandmothers. I'm like, all she needed was a prayer cloth. This is the one who doesn't believe in God, by the way, acting like Satan. She just needed a prayer cloth and a Bible, and all she needed to do was just say hallelujah. I was like, yo, Seriously, like I thought we were like going to like listen to some gospel music or something like Sunday's Best. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's one of those like singing shows similar to like American Idol, but the gospel version on BET. So yeah, look, Satan comes in like she's on like Sunday's Best, like listening to like the audition or something, needing a doily and a prayer cloth. Oh my, I'm sorry. I get my hee haws at my own jokes. So look, Shay introduces Satan to the grandmothers, and then she starts singing. So now Shay is singing California Girl, and I'm like, what is that all about? Like, what? Why is she singing? I'm like, Shay sings now. Shay's a singer. No, what she was doing, what she was, I don't know if it was a true dog. I wouldn't call it a dog whistle, but basically what she was letting her know was, hey, chick, I'm going to California. So Satan is shocked at Shay because Shay is singing California Girl and wants to move to California. And there was some sort of Roseanne reference. This is not important. So now Satan is she was right. She's like, wait a second. You didn't have time. You didn't have time to tell me this, but you had time to put together a whole band and a song. Good point. So anyway, Shay put together this song and a band and a whole 9 yards to sing about how she has an opportunity to pursue, I guess, some sort of movie or something in California. So new lesbian Miranda, also known as Satan, also known as Dum Dum, also known as Dingaling. She's like, clutch the pearls, looking like an old lady, clutch the pearls and move to California. What's going to happen to our lesbian loverness? Because I'm a newfound lesbian. Okay, so look, Miranda is in her feelings, and then Shay is like, I'm flying as soon as possible. Like, there's no time. And so, Miranda's in the tizzy, aka Satan, and now Shay drops the bomb. I want you to come to LA. And Satan's giving all her weird face, because she likes to show all of her teeth. I need to call her 32. 32, because she likes to give like, hold on, let me just bring myself up for a second. Satan likes to be like, I mean, like full on. I'm telling you, she is psycho. Nobody does that. Who does that? The chick is psycho. But anyway, Shay is still a jerk. I don't have a slide for this, but Shay is a jerk. So Shay, um, I have mixed feelings about Shay. All right. A lot of people hate her. I sometimes really dislike her, but not all the time. Because the way I look at it is, look, Shay, I'm like confusing myself. They, also known as Shay, told Miranda, look, this is not a traditional relationship. But Miranda and her full on ding dong self is like diving in. So now she's like, what do I do? I just can't. I'm like this woman who used to be highly intelligent and aspirational is now someone that I know I can't have a real friendship with, because I'd be like, you are so dumb. Like, what is going on? Okay, so look, Shay, we know that she's like they is self-absorbed. I gotta remember to call Shay they, not she. It's hard breaking these old habits. She has some more bad jokes, and basically she also lets down the people in the podcast. I could go back to a previous slide, but I don't want to. She lets down the podcast people like, hey, by the way, good luck with you. I'm going to go pursue my life in California. I'm going to be in the movie because, Che sings now too. So Che is a comedian, an expert lesbian lover to Satan, and a singer. And now Che is going to be a movie star. All right. So now we're going to go on to this next slide here because I'm done talking about that for now. So now Naya, okay, wait, hold on. Let me just say, I can't stress enough the dinglingness of this relationship, actually. I cannot. Because Naya is Satan's professor, and now they have this close relationship, which is like, isn't that like some sort of ethical thing, like a conflict of interest or something? Like, I don't understand what that is. I don't understand what that is. Like, what? Like, what is that? What is that? So, but nevertheless, okay. Miranda, Satan, I gotta remember to call Satan, Satan with the cap, visits Naya and basically, I don't know. So they're both exchanging stuff. Naya's like, oh, her husband is going on tour to whatever. And she's like, maybe we need this break to see if we could basically see what's going on in their relationship. So she's feeling some kind of way. Satan is like, I'm going to California to be with Jay. And Naya is side-eyeing her as she should, because she's like, so let me get this right. Newfound lesbian, you're after you've blown up your marriage. Now she didn't use all these words, I'm just throwing in my own interpretation. You blew up your marriage, you're a newfound lesbian, and now you're gonna give up this internship that I wrote for you because I'm all about that conflict of interest, to go chase some ASS out in California. But what about me? I had planned on calling you for my needs because my husband is going to be gone. Oh, I was like, what just happened? So, but yeah, her husband, Andre, is going on tour. But okay, let's go. I don't have a slide for this next thing. So, Seema, who is perfect in every way and could do no wrong. I should have had a better picture, an older picture of her. She basically is telling Carrie that she really likes her boy toy. And we all know that that's not going to last. Next. So I have two slides on this, which this was interesting. Let's go back here. So now Carrie goes out to lunch with her deceased husband's brother. Okay. So she goes out to lunch with the deceased husband's brother. And homie up top is like, where's John? And I don't know why he called. Wait a second, wait a second. She was like, where's John? And she's like, oh, he's I was like, that was actually funny. I got my life in that moment because it was like, I'm sorry, I gotta read some of these how do I get these to scroll up? I've never even used this function, guys, so excuse me. Okay, this is like some sort of a troll person. Sorry, Shay's not funny at all. I don't really think she's that funny either, but I don't know. Okay, Miranda's gonna feel lonely like Carrie did in Paris. You're living in fantasy. I, I look, you know how I feel about it. I think at some point Shay is going to kick her to the curb and like, you are team too much. I've got all this new TNA out here in California, and I'm gonna get to that. Hopefully, I don't forget. Let me go back to this for a second. Look, Carrie goes out to lunch with her deceased husband's brother, and he's like, where's John? And she's like, he's dead. And I don't know why it was funny to me, because she thought that he was like going having some sort of dementia or something like that. And no, I'm not poking fun at dementia, but the scene was funny. I mean, like it just was. So I'm like, okay. I gave the writers that little hee haw because they finally got like a little joke that, in my opinion, landed the right way. I mean, they didn't have to do that, but it was still funny. But he was really asking, no, where are the ashes? And she's like, well, look, I have them next to my favorite pair of shoes. And she started like, I know the photo is dark. I didn't do a good job, guys. You have to forgive me. So she's got Big in a container next to her shoes. Oh my gosh. Am I the only one who's like having a good time? Like, I was like, what is going on? But it was kind of like, I get it. Like, I didn't have any major issues with it. But ultimately, I see somebody left the I can't get to it. I think I got to it. Yep. Oh my goodness, honey lavender, you're kind of funny. I think you like are a friend in my head. Isn't that what Wendy Williams used to say? So I'm sitting here laughing because the brother is like, where is he? And she's like, he's in a container next to my shoes. He's like, well, he was like basically in my mind. Hold on a second. Sorry. So the brother was basically like, how much we gonna woodchuck chuck of a woodchuck? Because he's like, well, look, we got a family plot, and he's drawing boxes and carrying on, and so and so's here, and Muffy the cat is here, and so and you could be here. Like, I was like, this was like one of the best scenes. I didn't find anything wrong with that scene because it was shady and funny at the same time. I told you, Carrie carried the entire episode, pun intended. All right. So she goes through that whole thing. But the brother is basically like, look, it's been a year. Okay. He's like, it's been a year. So what are you gonna do with the ashes for the brother? And so she recognized maybe, I should do something. But it took her, she had to like walk the dog, right? She had to go through the stages that she had to go through the process. Okay. So look, more on Lampgate. So now we continue with the Lampgate. Now she goes and picks up the lamp. She's like, oh, there was just nothing really wrong. I forgot exactly the verbiage she used, but she was like, there was nothing really wrong with the lamp, right? But basically, the guy's like, no, wackadoodle, like there was a loose wire. And in that moment, I kind of felt bad because she was like hoping that there was nothing wrong with the lamp and that really there was some sort of signal or something coming from her deceased husband. So I know people are going to want to like poke fun at that scene or anything about the lamp because Lampgate, had life. It was literally the personification. He had some sort of life. It was like big personified in his lamp, right? So I just kind of felt like in real life, when people lose someone, you don't know how they're going to cope. You don't know how they're going to grieve. You just don't know. You're going to think that maybe you hear voices, and very well could be. You can think that maybe the deceased loved one is maybe adjusting the lights, sending you signals. Maybe the birds are chirping in a certain way. And I'm not even joking. Like, you don't know how people are going to cope. So it was actually kind of cool. I mean, it was kind of like, people are looking at her crazy, but when you don't know the story, all you think is that maybe that she's just going nuts out. But I was actually here for it. Okay. So Lampgate was like throwing down in this episode. All right. Now, we're going to move on to some more shenanigans, which I enjoyed. You know why? Because it had Jackie in there. Now, I don't have a picture of Jackie, but look. Now, this is what's so funny about this. On the left, for those of you who don't know, that's Asian Jackie. And I called out his race for a reason because he's funny, marrying a sister. And we already know right now there is a war going on in the Black community. You got the whacked out manosphere going on. You got the woman who hate the men going on. And so they say like Black women are the worst and they should just basically go run in the middle of oncoming traffic. So you got the two groups who have been deemed like the worst getting together with this crazy, I don't know what kind of get up this was, but hey, they were living their lives in color. So anyway, they had this surprise wedding. Carrie has on this really kind of big sundress, but I like it. It was pretty. I don't know. It was kind of almost maybe kind of sort of something I would wear. And then, of course, podcast hottie. I wish I had snapped a picture of him. So the one who was running the podcast with Che, Jackie, and Carrie, he comes up and offers her an opportunity to have a podcast on her own, just basically focusing on relationships. And she's contemplating it, and he's a nice looking guy. Okay. So anyway, did I go through all the slides with that? No. All right. Before I go, yeah, so Lampgate comes back. Look, Lampgate is deep. Lampgate got, like, let me tell you, Lampgate had a full-on EGOT. Emmy, Grammy, Oscar, and Tony, because Lampgate had more scenes than I think Charlotte Hammer. Lampgate was the best. This lamp This lamp needs to be like in like and just like that of series like museum or something. Lampgate was like kicking it. So the lamp cuts back on again. Let me see. Let me go back to that. Lampgate cuts back on again. It's a whole situation, and she's thinking, "Oh my goodness!" And then she starts going to bed, and she's dreaming. Now, this is like in her dream, and they don't show Chris Noth as big, right? We for those of you who are familiar with the series, we know there's the whole controversy surrounding him. I know he's been written off of the show, and all the future episodes he was supposed to be featured in, and I guess they have been axed, right? So basically, it just kind of alludes to maybe this was big that came to her in a dream. Now, let me just say this. We're going to stop right here for a second. This is a full on shady moment coming from my mouth. If the writers can allude to a situation like this, right? They never once said Big came and visited Carrie in her dream. No one says that. Why couldn't they do that with some of these so-called conscious or woke moments? They could have done that with anything related to ageism. They could have finessed us and walked us into this new relationship with Satan and Shay. They could have done this with so many of these moments, the black woman in the hair stuff, and all that kind of stuff. You can be so much more clever with the writing and take all kinds of artistic license. I just felt like the writers were lazy with this series, but yet and still they can allude here that, hey, Big came and visited her in her dreams. I'm just saying, this is how I interpreted it. All right, let's get on with it. We are going to get on to the Bay Mitzvah. Now, look, here we go. We got, wrong one. I want to put this in. We got Satan in red. You got Carrie in red and black, but look, she's got her cap on. Yeah, we got full on Satan, because this is where Satan is really trying to get all the way off. So Carrie is talking about Big, and basically, I think she's just talking about, she thinks, anyway, she's talking about Big. Miranda's still Satan, and she's in red, and she deserves to be in red, and she deserves to wear that cap. Okay. So Carrie's basically saying that, she wants to take a trip to Paris. She thinks she knows where she wants to disperse his remains. All right. Do I have a picture of this? Yes, I do. Charlotte is wearing another ugly dress with these stupid puffy sleeves. And I'm telling you right now, in season 2, she needs to not be in puffy sleeves. That's a sign that she's trying to hide her arms or something like that. I don't know what's going on. That shiggity is ugly. However, Anthony was pretty good. Anthony was great. But I don't understand why Charlotte has to continue to suck this much. And yes, I am still on the Charlotte sucks train. Next. This is where Carrie chin checked Miranda, aka Satan, aka Dum Dum, aka Dingaling, aka Wackadoodle. They're in the bathroom, and Miranda's like, Satan is basically like, do I have to be stuck in the same way I was from before and all sort of stuff? And like, don't I have a chance at being different and love? And I cannot scroll up with these chats. I'm so sorry. Did I get that? Charlotte's kids give me anxiety. Yes, they do. I'm coming back to that. But the whole thing with Satan, she's like all about herself, and she keeps like badgering Carrie, like, well, when are you going to be there so I can fly from California to Paris, and I could be there because California and Shay and me and more Shay and Shay to the Shay because I love her. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you either want to be there or you don't. It's really that simple. So anyway, she's calling her out, and she's just kind of like, basically, I should have called it Keep It Real Carrie. Keeping it real Carrie, keeping it all the way real, because she's like, what are you doing? And some other stuff. Okay. But she's talking to grandma here because she's Satan. And all right, whatever. So anyway, LTW, I wish I could have had lighter pictures, but she's still fabulous. But of course, we got like dingbat Charlotte, who's like, I'm the worst mother. blah, 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 blah. But actually, check this out. I can't believe I'm going to say this. I'm going to say it out loud. If I had put together a function, um, a communion party, anything, and my child picks that moment to basically self destruct, there's several things happening. It's kind of like my child is having a moment, but then also there is a selfish part of you. It's like I put in so much effort. Like you couldn't tell me all these things before. Like she's like everything is falling apart, and LTW, aka Lisa Todd Wexley, aka Nicole Ari Parker, has to basically put Dingaling with the weird sleeves back together. But anyway, let me see. Let's go on to the next one. Oh, I should have. Did I take that picture out? I hope I. Oh, I think I took that picture out with Rock now, Rose now Rock. But anyway, so the one that's wearing the little coral-looking suit is the girl who cut her hair, who doesn't go by a girl, goes by they, is a boy, or not a boy, but feels like a boy, wants to go by they, and now is like, not only do like, this, it's a whole progression. And by the way, this child is only, I guess now 13 here. It's like, I don't want to be a girl. I don't like being called anything that girly. Fine, but changes the name and they just go with it. I'm like, wow, is this like in real life? And now waits into the they mitzvah, not to be confused with bar mitzvah, because now we got to change all the pronouns for a child. And it's like, I don't want to do it. I don't believe in it. I'm not participating, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, you couldn't have said anything before, you selfish. Ooh. Anyway, let me just, before I continue to like go off about this child, in this scene here, this is the thing that drives me nuts. I should have snapped a picture of the rabbi with the deep voice that's supposed to now be a woman but still sounds like a man. The rabbi is listening to Satan like justify her weirdness, okay? Her all the way weirdness to Carrie. Satan is trying to justify her weirdness to Carrie, and the rabbi walks out. This is just like, I was like, oh my goodness, and just jumps in the middle of the conversation. Just jumps in, because I'm slick mouth myself. I only have so much, like, I can practice kindness. Most people know I will practice kindness. But in that moment, if it's a heated moment and you jump in, I'm like, I'm sorry. You need to go find some business of your own. Like, try to figure out how come your voice doesn't match everything else, right? Because clearly you are going through something. So focus on your transition. Don't focus on my conversation, okay? Because what's going on here has nothing to do with you. Go run that ceremony out there. How about that? I could not believe this person comes out and interjects in their situation, trying to spread all of this. I'm like, mind your business. All the way mind your business. I don't care if you're a rabbi, a pastor, or reverend, or the Dalai Lama. I'm like, this is not your business. This is all the way not your business. You can just keep on walking right out, but don't talk to me like ever. So now the rabbi is minding everybody else's business, trying to give them advice. And this is the part, hold on a second. Let me go back to Satan. Come on. This is what drives me crazy about Satan. In this scene, there's all this conversation about everyone else, and there's never any reference to her husband that she has kicked to the curb. I was like, you ought to burn in hell, because the way that it was done, it was just so selfish. It was like, I just want to be happy. Like, I don't care that I'm disrupting my family. And I know people go through things, and I shouldn't be so judgmental, right? Because I am feeling a little judgmental, but I think it was the way they wrote it in. It was like a lot came at me too fast. She wasn't parenting her child anyway, which is probably why it was so easy for her to just leave the relationship. She wasn't really parenting Brady. Brady was bringing in Louisa. They were like getting down with the get down in her house. The chick was getting mail and stuff there, which is basically establishing residency. She's Satan herself was stepping on dried up condoms with the grossness in them. right? The son was just doing whatever he wanted. They emasculated Steve. He's like, hey, 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 doing that weird thing that I don't even understand. Because I'm like, you are not 85, but you're acting like you're 85. She just had already checked out. And maybe that is a real thing, right? I haven't experienced that. Justice for Steve. Justice for Steve. I know. Where's Aiden? I don't know where Aiden is. What happened to the book Carrie was writing? Brady, okay, now and with mom and Shay. What? I don't know. But this is the thing. Hold on a second. In this moment, I just kind of felt like in real life, I don't know what's going on with people in their lives and families, but like if you choose to dismantle an institution, uh, for me, I'm Christian. I know some of you are not, but it's a whole covenant. You are blowing up the lives. It's not just yours, it's your spouse. If you have children, and then there's people who are in your life based off of your relationship with your significant other, right? And I'm not saying that there aren't times when it shouldn't be blown up, okay? But this was like, I don't know. The writers were lazy. They did not finesse us into this situation. What they gave us were selfish, lazy scenes of her like, hey, Steve, do me in the kitchen, finger me, all this other stuff. And then it was kind of like, if you haven't been doing anything all this time, since now all of a sudden he's asexual, then all of a sudden he's supposed to turn on like that, like, oh, because you said so. So let me like, like, what is that? So it was just so selfish to me. And I'm like, wait a second, you're so evil. Yeah. She's evil. It's not fair. He never even had a fighting chance. Who does that? She didn't even so now she's just kind of like, I want to be happy. Do I have to be the same person I was? And no, you don't have to be the same person. But it's like there's no grace and mercy for the person that you're with. She just dropped that joker, and nowhere in this conversation is he even involved. So anyway, that's the reason why I feel like she's all the way Satan. She's on the road to perdition, and that's why when she gets her dumb self out there in California, at some point Shay's gonna be like, I don't know what Shay's gonna do, but it's gonna be shady. And and Satan deserves it. She all the way deserves it. Oh, crazy South. But anyway, let's get back to the selfish kids. Now, the last episode, we talked about Tampon Gate and Lily and how she's a brat. And now we've got Rose Now Rock, who is equally a brat. Like I was trying to extend a little bit of grace, right? But this is what I don't understand. And this is where I think I am going to differ from many of the parents and many of you who may be tuned into this. I'm just speaking to me. And oh wait, hold on a second. Let me put my little banner up because I don't want any drama. These are just my opinions, and everything's alleged and everything else and all that stuff. Don't come for me because I'm sensitive. Now, let me just say this. I am not in the position of some parents whose children at the age of 5 nanoseconds have declared that they no longer want to be the way they were born. And I will give my stance on it, and everyone is allowed to disagree. Okay. I cannot clear my throat. So let me tell you, this is my opinion. I don't believe parents should entertain those kinds of conversations as far as changing anything when you are a a young child. Because already there's confusion and trying to figure it out. And I feel like it's co signing behavior. I think if you want to make those changes as an adult, then that is a choice and that's okay. But I don't believe in providing hormone therapy to kids who are like 10, 12, 15, or whatever the ages are. I'm like, they're still growing. They're still growing. Are you going to indulge everything that you're trying? And that's not to say that people who are are struggling with body image and identity aren't going to make those changes. But what I am not going to do is contribute to certain things at 12. Now, what, 13? Rose now rock? Wait, when say yes. I don't believe in that. I do not believe in that. I don't believe in that. And this is where I will differ. And a lot of people are going to get mad and be in their feelings. And it's okay to defer. But I would not sit there and entertain that. I my stance now, granted, I'm not in that position, so take that with a grain of salt. But my stance is more along the lines of we're going to talk about it, get some counseling, everything else. But I'm going to say, hey, look, this is the way you were born. This is the way you were made. And when you are old enough to make these decisions for yourself, you can make those decisions. But as your guardian, my job is to parent and love you. And I cannot co sign that. So when I see Pollyanna Charlotte, like, I don't understand. Like, is that what you want to fall on your sword on for? I don't, it doesn't make sense because you want to be rigid and everything else. But now all of a sudden, I want to be called Rock. I want to be this. I want to change my name. I want to, whatever. I don't like all of these things. And I'm just kind of like, wait a second. First of all, by nature, a lot of us can be selfish. And so maybe she needed to work on, like, wait a second. Maybe I have given you too much because now I think you think that you call all the shots. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I've got it wrong, but I don't get down with that. You got satanic Miranda. She did Steve wrong. And then you got ridiculous Charlotte and Harry indulging this. So I get it. I know a lot of people are going to feel some kind of way, and it's okay to feel some kind of way. And I also have the right to feel the way I want to feel. This shiggity is wrong. I would not indulge my 12-year-old child in the shenanigans. Nope, all the way not. I'm like, well, you know what? You're 12. You've got 6 years of dealing with it. And then when you are of legal age, and when I say of legal age, I'm talking about also taking care of yourself. See, because you're not an adult until you can take care of yourself. Because what you're not going to do is live up off of me on my dime, spending your money on other things, but then I am supporting your lifestyle. When you are fully self supporting and you want to do like get hormone therapy and breast or no breast and removing things, then that's for you to do. Those are your decisions that you can make as a fully self supporting adult. All right. So now I'm going to jump off my soapbox. Getting back to crazy Charlotte with the weird puppy sleeves and carrying on. I'm like, why are your sleeves so big? Why are your kids so bad? Why did Harry pull out a peen in the previous couple of episodes? What is going on? This family needs some help. This family is whacked out. They're a beautiful family. If you look at them, they're beautiful, but they are crazy. Everybody's crazy. I'm just calling a thing a thing. Okay, am I done with this? Oh yeah. So after LTW rescues her from the situation or tells her how to get through it, so dingbat Charlotte decides with her puffy sleeves to go up there and actually perform the ceremony on her own. And I just kind of felt like I'm like, well, wait a second. Since you got a whole lot of, I'm serious with my child. Like, you want to make these kind of decisions? You want to make adult like decisions? Well, maybe I need to pull back and let you start making some other kind of, adult decisions. Oh, these bratty kids. I'm right on the issues. I don't know. You might think I'm right. I'm sure other people think I'm wrong. But I was just kind of like, no, I don't believe in indulging that. And I'm like, these parents are out here indulging their kids 12, 13, 14, 15 years old. I'm like, if your child is talking about these kinds of things and indulging in wanting to change their gender at 12 and 13, there is something else going on. Get to the root of that. I'm like, look, if you want to change all these things, let me tell you something. I know my husband is not coughing like he's dying out there. If you want to do all these things, I'm like, look, as an adult, if you change your sex, you change your name and all these other things, I'm still going to love you because you're my child. You're welcome in my house. You are welcome in my house as long as you're not doing anything crazy like trying to kill me. You are welcome in my house. But what you're not going to do is think that I am going to pay for you if you're a boy to get knockers, if you're a girl to get them chopped off, if you get hormone or no. I'm not. No, I got retirement to pay for. All right. So I think I exhausted that. Now let's move on. Okay, let's make this bigger for a second. Let me just say for the record, I took the cap off of Satan because she looks so beautiful here and she went back to the red hair. But then she had to open her mouth and show all 32 of her teeth. The cap had to go back on. The cap goes back on because the chick is weird. I don't know. Like, what is that? Why does she do it? Her new name needs to be 32 Satan. Satan 32. I don't know. We need to get a t-shirt because I don't know what. Like, who does that? I'm like, it looks like it hurts. Like, you see all your neck muscles and carrying on. She's so weird. Cynthia Nixon, you need to go back to improv. I need you to go back to improv and take dingbat Kristen Davis with you with all that overacting. You need to go back to improv, and then you need to tell the people in the writers' room, whatever, Samantha Irby, Michael Patrick King, or whatever it is, that they need to hire me. I can write a better story, and I'm not even the writer. I'm an engineer. Zeros and ones. Requirements. I can do that kind of stuff. Architecture documents. I'm that chick. But I need to be in the writer's room because that's not it. I'm just saying, the only thing of things. All right, let's get back to the teeth situation. Mouth. So she's showing all her teeth and she's excited about going to the airport because she's not going to go to Paris and support Carrie. But she was beautiful hair. I was like, oh my goodness. And let me tell you what I think was going on. I don't know what it is. I think what was going on was she dyed her hair red because she knew that when she showed up to the club looking like she needed a doily, looking like grandma sitting with the other grandmas, I think she knew she needed to step up her game because she was going out to California to be with Selfish Shay. Okay. Now, I think she realized if I want to have any kind of chance in this, but see, I don't know, maybe Shay liked Satan because it could have been a fetish. Maybe she thought, I like older women. She looks like grandma. You know what? We get that. Like, maybe that's what that very well could have been it. Wait, you guys need to stop. I'm trying to stay focused. Not the wooden teeth. Oh my gosh. Please stop. Oh, wait. This has got to stay up. Why they gotta be wooden though? Oh my goodness. All right. Let me stop. Let me just, I need to be good. Stop with the wooden teeth. Next. I'm almost done. I'm almost done. Sadness in Paris. I could not get a better photo. I looked for a better photo and I couldn't. Let me do this way. I couldn't get one. I actually liked this dress. It was big, it was loud, it was orange. I don't know, but she was so sad. And it was a realistic moment. She was so sad. And then she had to dump his ashes. And I felt sad. I was like, he's really gone. No, I mean, I'm glad he is, but she was really sad. All right. In this moment, after she gets herself together, she sends out a text to none other than perfect Samantha, who could do no wrong and is perfect in every way. But I wish she was back on the actual series and she's like not coming back. Kristen Control. Kim Cattrall, I'm sorry. I do miss her. So she sends Kim Cattrall's character, Samantha, the text message, hey, do you want to meet for a drink or a cocktail or something? She's like, hey, I'm in Paris. And she's like, do you want to meet? And I forgot. I think she said soon or no, that was in a previous text message. I think she was like, yeah, whatever it was. So it looks like they're going to meet up somewhere. Now, most likely it's not going to be in the following season or whatever. There's going to be a reference to like, hey, I met up with Samantha. It was good or whatever. So, all right. Almost done. Almost done. Carrie returns to New York. She's doing her relationship podcast. Um, she seems pretty happy here. You see her smiling, and I like these pip photos, even though I think that blue one came from a different scene. And basically, she ends the episode basically saying that it was basically the Sex in the City I don't know, podcast or something, which was a nice way of bringing it back to Sex in the City. And then in the end, she gets on an elevator with the hottie dude that was at the wedding, the podcast guy who wanted to produce her, and then she's like kissing him for real. Unlike in the beginning of this, when she was kissing the one guy, and it was just kind of like she borrowed Satan's wooden teeth or something. The wooden teeth. Wait, wait, not the wooden teeth. Oh, okay. Let me stop. So, all right, get myself together. All right, let's take this and this, or we're getting there. All right. So look, Carrie carried this episode, and I mean this pun intended. She carried the episode. Miranda's still Satan. Lampgate had way more scenes than I thought. The lamp had more scenes than Charlotte, and I think Miranda. It's like it was a full-on person. It was personified. It was big personified. It was literally like personification. Charlotte is a bad mother. I said it. She wanted to be perfect all this time, and her kids are awful, awful human beings. They are bratty. They are entitled. Sometimes my kids may be entitled, and I always have to check them. I literally have to tell my kids things like, I have forgotten more than you already know. So you don't know more than me. I just want you to understand that. Charlotte doesn't check her kids. Like, it's crazy. And neither does Dingbat Satan, which is why Brady. Oh, I was so surprised that Charlotte didn't chin check Miranda because she has been checking her all season. And the one time she could have, she didn't. But Carrie did it. Um, Satan turns her hair back to red. Thank goodness. We need more Anthony and Jackie. I think with Anthony, I think they did the best they could. They did the best they could integrating him into it, being that we no longer have Willie Garson, who was Stanny, since he died of, I think it was pancreatic cancer or something like that. I don't remember what it is. What happened? But why the dishwasher? I don't know. You guys are funny. Charlotte also yells her lines. You know what? You're right sometimes. I don't want to hear. You're right. I mean, look, this is the thing. The thing with Charlotte, she's not even acting. I mean, Kristen Davis is not even acting. She's just doing that weird spaz thing. Like it sounds. She looks like she has a seizure. She's like, and I don't understand why she does that. That the flutter eye thing, and I'm just kind of like, you don't have to do that. Miranda, aka Satan, she's just 32. Like I'm like, why is it that your mouth is? What is going on with your mouth? Why do you have to do that with your mouth? And then to round this up, the takeaways I was going to say, they did try to bring it back to the original. They interjected the ghost of Samantha a couple of times, and then they ended it with a reference to Sex in the City. So that's it. Look, these are my takeaways. I said it before. I'll say it again. I think they should get a season 2. The writers need to write the ship. I think they either need to have longer than 10 episodes or make the episodes longer so that they can actually finesse these storylines because they threw too much. It was like way too much. And I was just kind of like, wait, what? Miranda's a lesbian now. When did that happen? Like, and she's walking around showing up at Shay's place with like old lady cookies and carrying on, like wearing doilies and carrying on, and old lady dresses to the club. And back then they wore sleek and cute dresses. Look, let me tell you something. I got some pandemic pounds, can you tell? And I would still stuff my cheeks and all of this in one of my like I'm trying to kill you dresses, and I would throw on my heels or my stilettos or my boots with the heels or whatever it is going on. I would do my face and my hair, and I would be trying to be cute, all the way cute. Who shows up to the club looking like grandma, sitting next to the grandmas? And they sat her right in the center, too, looking like she needed a prayer cloth and then a Bible. Hallelujah. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Okay, let's bar mitzvah for boys, bat mitzvah for girls. Thank you. Because I thought I was saying it wrong. I actually was saying it wrong. That was good to know. I just learned something today. All right. In the documentary, Miranda was originally supposed to be in a relationship with her teacher. Huh. Why? But Cynthia said that ain't sexy and wanted to change it to Shay. Well, she's not sexy. See, I got to catch up on all those writers' room podcasts. I just went through the first one. I think I'll go through the next one, maybe the next day or two, because yeah, I think I'm done with I need a break. I'll probably listen to episode 3 in the next day or so, and then I'll recap that one. But anyway, thanks for joining in. I thought I had pinned the did I not put the link in there that you could have came up if you have anything to say before I hop off? Did I do that? Did I do that right? I don't even know how to use this thing right. There it is. I'll stay on for like 1 minute. If no one jumps on, then I am going to sign off because I am tired and an error occurred. Wait a moment and try again. I don't know what's going on with this thing, Lord Jesus. Oh, how do I do this? You guys can't see this? How does this work? I thought you guys could see this. Good times. Thank you, Katie. Sorry, good times. There you go. That's the link. I don't know how to get this to show up. This is tacky. I'm just as tacky as Satan. But anyway, so this is it. This is just where I'm at with it. Thanks for joining. I had a good time recapping it because it was just funny to me, but I actually don't think it was a bad episode. I gave it an 8 out of 10 compared to some of those other crazy ones that were on there. They were just I don't know. I saw 2 or 3 good um episodes, and then that was pretty much it. So I guess it's a good thing that the season is over. They needed to end this, and these writers need to go back and really think about how they want to change this, because that's too much. And I have words for Samantha Irby. We don't it's not even just a black person. I don't know white people who just walk up to people and eat french fries off their plate. You could tell I'm still on like the first recap. That was tacky as I don't know what. She did not do it justice. And I finally went and looked her up. She was making comments about like people decaying at 55. Allegedly, I believe that was her. Allegedly. Look, all comments are alleged. Where's my little banner? All comments are alleged. I believe it was her who made the comment that it was a good way of listening to people. Looking at how like 50 something year olds, how their body is decaying. And I was just like, that's how you see something. I'm like, you know what? She needs to stop talking. I looked her up. They say she's in her 40s. Actually, she's younger than me. I'm like, she needs to stop talking. They don't want to change. They be bashing this crap on their own. I think so. I think so. Let me just say this for the record. There are people who are going to recap this and they bring up some good points. I try to catch some of them. I don't catch all of them because after like maybe a couple, I kind of get bored actually. I think my ADD kicks in. But like there are going to be people who just want to hate everything. That's just my personal opinion. They want to hate everything and they don't want to call a thing and sometimes say no, like it doesn't make sense. Like when I think about this whole Rose Now Rock situation, I'm like, that's shenanigans. No child should be dictating all of these things. I'm like, wait a second. Clearly, you've got a lot going on and you're way too hyper focused on sex and gender when there's so many other things you should be focused on. Like, I just don't believe that. I'm like, well, what are you interested in other than besides trying to figure out if you want to be a boy and a girl? What are your interests? What have you learned? Where do you see yourself in life? Now, I know that that's a lot for a 12-year-old, but I think it's a lot for a 12-year-old, now 13-year-old, to be focusing on their sex and their name change. Like, well, it doesn't make sense. I'm like, what are you watching on television? Who are your friends? Why do you want to do these things? That's just me. Everybody raises their kids differently. Now, I'm pretty sure all of my kids are jacked up in some sort of way. So maybe they'll drop a bomb on me. But that's just how I would probably handle it. And I'm not saying I'm finessing it in any sort of way, but that doesn't make sense to me. Charlotte is a bad mother. All right. So let me get off of this because I need to get a life. All right. Let me go to where's my outro? Thank you guys for joining in. All right. Black opinionated woman out.